The cleansing of the temple in John chapter 2 from verse 13 to 16. As the Passover of the Jews was at hand, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple court, he found merchants selling oxen, sheep, and doves, and money changers seated at their tables. Making a whip of cord, he drove them all out of the temple of God, together with sheep and oxen. He knocked over the tables of the money changers, scattering the coins, and commanded the people that we are buying and selling to leave the temple of God. We understand the word temple in three senses: the structural sense, the ecclesiological sense, and the spiritual sense. In the structural sense, the word temple comes from the Latin word tempulum, which means structure, usually built or erected or dedicated to God for religious or spiritual activities such as prayer, meditation, worship, and sacrifices. The temple, in its ecclesiological sense, is the gathering of people for worship. Christ says in Matthew chapter 18 verse 20, "Where two or more are gathered in my name, I am in their midst." Christ is always in our midst when we gather. The temple, in its spiritual sense, each one of us is God's temple. For Christ, who is God's temple, lives in us. St. Paul reminds us in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 19 that our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. The temple, in its structural sense, can be desecrated by unholy things people do, such as stealing from the church and using the church as a money-yielding venture. The temple, in its ecclesiological sense, can be desecrated by unhealthy competitions among members for positions. The temple, in its spiritual sense, can be desecrated by immoral acts such as idolatry, fornication, adultery, homosexuality, lesbianism, bestiality, pornography, and other evil things. Do not desecrate the temple of God. Keep the temple of God holy, and you will be blessed.